I'm an artist and designer, and I've spent the last 10 years working in synthetic biology, which is a field of genetic engineering. And I just finished my PhD, where I tried to make sense of what it is to be someone working in a very unfamiliar field. And the reason that synthetic biology captured my imagination is that synthetic biologists are engineers and scientists who are trying to design living matter. They're trying to make biology into a design discipline. And I've wanted to ask them, well, what does it mean to design life? How do you design it well? And fundamentally, who gets to decide what good design will mean in that space? So I've just written a PhD that tried to kind of unpack some of those questions and also explore how a new wave of designers are going into science to actually work with scientists at the cutting edge and develop new kinds of materials and things. And we see a burgeoning kind of set of new disciplines, and I'm interested in what that does and means and who's it for. As a designer and artist spending time with people working in technology, especially synthetic biology, I've heard lots of promises that the world can be made better, that this technology or that thing will make things better. And I began to wonder, well, what does better mean? And who gets to decide? And who will it be better for? And so my work has been using design to actually try and explore those questions. So developing experimental methods, objects, fictions, films, events, to try and sort of get into those questions of who is this actually making things better for, who's set to benefit, and where are the problems and troubles that start to emerge. And that's what I'm really interested in, is using design as a way to elicit the issues raised by emerging technologies and actually create trouble and problems that we can then explore and actually find new ways to ask questions. In biotechnology, there's been lots of promises that we can shift to a green economy, that we could use biotechnology to grow materials or grow energy in a way that previously we've extracted it from the earth. And what's really interesting for me about these kinds of promises, say you're going to grow a vat of yeast to produce jet fuel, engineered yeast, well, fed sugar, mixed jet fuel. We have to ask, well, what is the input into that system? What does it mean to actually feed that sugar? Where does that sugar come from? And how do you start to look at the entire system and actually evaluate, well, is this better? Should we still be flying in planes with jet fuel, or are there other ways that we should actually be thinking about innovation? So I've just written a PhD called Better, and the idea was I would try and find out what better meant. So I hear promises that we can have a better future made by advertising campaigns, scientists, politicians, but how do we become better? Really, first we have to ask what is better, and then I realised that there is no one better, and that's part of the problem, is that we expect the same, that there is one single better. So what's, I think, really interesting is how do you start to accommodate this multiplicity of expectations? How do we actually make a world where we can coexist and bring together many different ideas of what better is? And that's the really complicated question, but the juicy one.